The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday in our Riv, the beginning of a new and rainy week, it looks like.
7 days before the election.
Yes. Yeah.
7 days, and the clock is ticking.
7 days and a wake up, as we used to say in the military.
There's a debate sometime this week on Channel 12, I believe. There was supposed to be one here at BCC on Friday, but I'm not sure if that's going forward or not. I haven't heard anything. And it will be interesting to see. There's a lot of question on this new cannabis commission that the mayor has put together. Seems that it was thrown together in a week or so, but he says he's been working on it for several weeks. I just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Trottley was put on this commission, and not one city councilor knew. Nobody knew. Did Trott know?
And he didn't show up to the meeting.
And he didn't show up for the meeting, exactly.
Is it? You think that was a coinky-dink?
It may have been. It may have been. So.
I don't know. There's a lot of fishy stuff. But, you know, then again, it's normal for this administration.
Right.
Nobody knows anything until after it happens or when it's happening. And there's no prior warning, no... You know, some of the mayors used to like to call press conferences. Flanagan was good for that. I mean, you know.
So was Jazel. Jazel.
Yeah, they loved it. If they opened an envelope.
There was a press conference. Yeah.
Press conference, you know. But this guy is always under the cover of darkness. You know, I guess he's got to meet with his bankers and his lawyers and everybody else, and then he does what he does. And then there's always a line of some law or a word, some obscure word that he hangs his hat on. You know,
Yep.
like, let's both obey the charter. But he probably had his fingers and his toes crossed when he said that. He meant only the city
ones
council.
I like.
Yeah, but I don't have to obey anything, even though it says that we're supposed to be down here. So
Right.
We've got a meeting that kind of segues us into the meeting tomorrow night, which could be explosive. Everybody tune in.
It could be. I mean, first off, the Committee on Finance meeting is going to be interesting because that, of course, is citizens' input. And I want to see what citizens' input is going to come in. I will be putting in some citizens' input. I haven't decided what I'm going to say yet, but I'm going to be putting some in. There will be discussion regarding the park grant in regards to the Kennedy Park renovation project, a resolution for the tennis and pickleball courts, and a loan order for city parks capital repairs in the amount of $664,064. Now, I have a problem. We don't have money, but we're going to bond money.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what we do best. Kick the can down the road and create debt. That's what this city has always been. Yeah, and I think I was planning on going down there in person tomorrow, but I think we got a nor'easter coming tomorrow, and I don't really want to. I think I may have to start working on my email citizens input.
I think so too.
And when this afternoon. So.
Yep. So then there'll be some transfers and appropriations. Here's where it's going to get interesting. The transfer and appropriations are item 4 and 5 in the City Council regular meeting. So item number 4 is the mayor and an order appropriating $1,299,433 from the general fund, stabilization fund, to fiscal year 21 appropriation deficit, $759,721, and the snow and ice deficit, which I thought we paid the snow and ice deficit last year. I guess we didn't, of $539,712, equaling $1,299,433. Item 5 is where we're going to get interesting. Mayor and order appropriating $1.965338 from the following funding sources. From the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, for revenue loss, $1,694,983. For rehire positions, $2,909,785. From ordinary revenue and municipal receipts, $750,536. And from local receipts, giving a total of $1,965,338. Here's where we're going to get interesting. Appropriate to financial services expense, $360,000, and the school appropriation, which everyone's been talking about, $1,605,338, equaling $1,965,338. My problem is this: how many times are they going to use lost revenue? They've already been told by DOR that they cannot use the lost revenue that we want. They took in for lost revenue. They're going to use $2,817,541 for lost revenue. Now they're going to use $1,694,983. That's almost equaling the original amount that the DOR said they can't use.
Yeah. Well, see, the problem is they're going to use it, or say they're going to use it as often as they can until next Tuesday.
Right.
Not this coming Tuesday, Tuesday, a week tomorrow. And then they'll go, well, we can't use it. Let me see. Let me put on my Karnak the Magnificent hat. Remember Johnny?
Yeah.
Karnak. Let me look. What's in the envelope? Then they'll go, wait a minute, we can't use it. So here comes the debt override. Here comes the purple bags. Here comes the unit trash fees. Here comes everything we can, because that's what they do best. They love to get money, and they never ever are held accountable. This is why this is why Election Day is so important. People, get out and vote. Nobody's got a complaint, and I guarantee you, I could say I will express my disappointment if this inept mayor gets reelected, but I will not complain about it if we have an 85 or 90% turnout, because the fact is then the voters would have spoken. I don't agree with them, and I will say that unfortunately they probably didn't do their homework, but I have that right to have an opinion. But the problem is, if we get 20%, 18%, 22%, that's not the voice of the people. That's the voice of the political hacks.
Right.
The people who want a job, the 29 people in all our extended families that he's going to hand these jobs out to, all the people he's put on the boards, sometimes 2 boards. This is the problem with Fall River. The demographic that used to throw councilors and mayors out if they raised taxes have moved to Somerset, Swansea, Dighton, Rehoboth, Dartmouth, everywhere. They all bailed out long ago. Look at the majority. When I got on the fire department, I think 90% of the firefighters lived in the city of Fall River. The same with the school teachers, the same with everybody. They all lived in Fall River. Now I will guarantee you that most of those departments, more than 50%, probably closer to 80 or 90%, live out of town.
Even though we have a residency requirement.
Even though we have a resident, exactly. But the fact is, the demographic that used to vote these people out are now gone. The people who will vote, the other people have a political self-interest, and this is the problem. But you can shut us up if you go out and vote. If we get an 80% or better turnout, we can't argue. We can say the majority of the people have spoken.
Right. I mean, we were not for the debt exclusion.
That's right.
We spoke about the debt exclusion in depth. And we said everything that we've said is happening right now.
That's right.
Everything we said was going to happen is happening right now. And that's the big problem. People did not do their research. But that was the vote. It wasn't the vote of the majority of people. It was the vote of the majority of people who voted in the election, not the people of the city.
Yes.
Because I think that didn't even have a 15% turnout.
Yeah.
So, you cannot make these decisions lightly. And whether or not Paul is elected or Cliff is elected, we need to elect somebody different than we have now. as you called him, an inept mayor. He is. He's inept. And just this transfer proves he's inept.
Or he is a great deflector, which he is.
Right, which he is a great deflector.
Because he's, my theory on that is these are all promises he knows he can't keep.
Right.
Like he's said before. And when the election is over, well, if he gets reelected, it's like, what do I care? This is I'm only going to...
This is my swan song.
I'm on the way out. I'm a lame duck mayor when I get sworn in.
Right.
Because I'm not running again. I'm turning it over. I've set the table. So he's going to implement everything, just like he gave Fiola all those jobs. He didn't care. Didn't he say he wasn't going to bring Fiola back into the fold when he was running?
Yes, he did.
Another lie. Oh, God. But, the thing is that's the problem. This city does not have... The biggest problem it faces this city is a spending problem.
Right.
And part of my citizens' input is to point that out. No matter how much money we give them, if I could resurrect Milton Friedman to come to the city council meeting and tell him that, and paraphrase his own words, that if you give Fall River's financial team the Sahara Desert, they'll run out of sand in 5 years.
Yep.
Because there's never enough money. Never enough. Even though our healthcare system has run under budget for years, they've got none of the money. We've got money in our trust fund, they don't. The retirement system, they ran it into the ground. Fall River's retirement system is the third from the bottom in the state of Massachusetts, after Prim's best year in history. We just had a report from Prim. But we are moving forward, inching forward slowly, because we're holding the city's feet to the fire to pay their fair share and not underfund it like they did from. Look it up. I'm not, don't say he's making this stuff up. I went before the council and made a presentation on this. From 2002 to 2012, the city of Fall River had a retirement board that did not follow PERAC's recommendations. They overestimated their revenue so they could take more money and not give it to the retirement fund and spend it. They spent we compared with New Bedford, in that 10-year period, we put in $89 million less than New Bedford. And right now we are third from the bottom. We are 349th in the state. And I remember some guy said, oh, look, they're always complaining about the retirement system. And look at that. We had the best year in history. The retirement system is great throughout the state. Well, let me educate you a little bit. Retirement systems are run by the localities or by the counties or by the cities, depending on what system it is. And from 89, from 02 to 12, from 02 to 12, this system went from one of the top funded systems to one of the bottom fund because the city was skimming money to blow. Just like we've got $8 or $9 million in our trust fund, and the city will then spend everything they have every year. They don't keep anything in the bank, even though they're statutorily required to have enough money in that trust fund to pay incurred but not reported claims. And they don't. They never have enough. That's why they couldn't go to a premium plan except for the GIC, because they'll fund it for them. The reality is this city has a spending problem. The taxpayers have got to wake up. You will never, ever get tax relief and fee relief as long as you allow people to run this government that never, ever tighten their belts, never, ever consider you, and no matter how much money, like a giant vacuum cleaner. The more money you give them, the more money they take. And has it improved your life? I don't think so. We've got less firefighters, less police on the job than we had years ago when we didn't raise taxes every year. They keep taking money, but where are they putting it? They're putting it into their friends' pockets. The political hacks who are going to go out on November 2nd and make sure part of the in crowd is reelected. Because as they said in one of those endorsement letters, remember, he's one of us.
Right.
He's one of us. He's been on the political dole his whole life. You know, and they didn't say it in those exact words, so I won't get a call. He doesn't talk to me anymore, so I don't have to worry about getting a call. But he'll talk about it on the radio, and he'll talk about everything on stuff. But I got the numbers on the retirement. I've got the numbers on the health care, and anybody that wants to see them, I've shown them numerous times to the council. So let's not try to sugarcoat this. We got a government that never stops spending, and they will continue that until you boot them out.
No argument from me, none whatsoever. I mean, you've heard of Electrolux?
Yeah.
This is Cougarlux.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that.
He's a vacuum for the money.
Yeah. But that agenda has potential fireworks on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the potential fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Big,
well, there's a few.
Fireworks.
There's more than one.
Oh, yeah, but here's the big
The
fireworks.
biggie. Uh-oh. Drum roll.
Fireworks. Yep, drum roll. Brrr, boom. Resolution, priority matter number 1. Administration present an updated 5-year budget forecast at Committee on Finance meeting. Objected to on October 12th, 2021. That was Linda who objected to it, by the way.
We know that.
Yes. And so that was very interesting. So that's a priority matter.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that and noted the objection because it's in there. You know what I find a little ironic, the irony of it, is that a city councilor who's commissioned to spend the money properly is objecting to finding out how they're spending the money.
Right.
That's a little bizarre. I'm sorry.
Obviously,
it doesn't make any sense. And again, it goes back to that garbage charter
Right.
that allowed this political. This is a political tool. This can't be used for anything else except a political tool. And shame on Mike Mioza and the rest, except for Dan Robillard, who was the only charter commissioner who basically voted against everything and filed a minority opinion. But shame on that charter commission. They created the most political charter, I think, in Massachusetts, and that's saying something.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. No question whatsoever. Here's the only problem I have with this priority matter, which is the resolution. The resolution is not going to be heard. This is the last city council meeting before the election. So if they pass this at Tuesday's meeting, we won't hear anything until after the election, which is exactly the way Paul wanted it.
That's right.
So this objection by Linda was politically placed to make sure that the people of Fall River did not know where their money's being spent and what's going to happen to the city of Fall River in the next 5 years. That's important. What's going on right now is important, but what's going to happen in the next 5 years is just as important. Because if you don't know where that money is next year or the year after, the only place it can come from is your pocket. Because remember, you are the bank of Fall River.
And there used to be a bank by that.
And there used to be a bank by that.
There used to be a bank by that, and that's true. But as you said, CJ, after the election, we're going to see the tale of two mayors again with Paul, the election campaign Coogan versus the real Coogan. So now after the election, if he's reelected, he's going to say what he said basically. It's going to go from, we got money, we're all set, we got plenty of money. We got opera money, we got the surplus, we got this, we got that, to what he said at that PEC meeting that you taped. I'm looking for nickels and dimes here. I'm looking for pennies and nickels and dimes because we're broke. See, that's the real city situation.
Right.
They're moving money around. So now what he's going to say if he gets reelected, he doesn't care now. He doesn't care. I'm reelected. Now I can tell them the truth. Here come the purple bags. Here come the fees. Here comes the debt override. It's all coming over there because I got no choice.
Well, I can tell you right now.
Well, you do have it. Let me just get this in. He did have a choice. He could have put in a real budget.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
No question about it. I can tell you right now, I've been approached by probably 30 people so far that if Paul is reelected, they want to form a recall committee. And I said, you can't recall him for 91 days. On day 91, you can start the recall process. They've already got 30 people. They only need 10. They only need 10. They've got 30 people.
Yeah. Well,
and you know what? If he starts adding all those fees and taxes and everything else, he is going to get recalled. And there will be no question about it. I mean, in the last recall election, he did piss poor. He did piss poor. You have to admit, he did piss poor.
Yeah. No, you're right. But, you know, the thing is, there's the key. Because, you know, they're going to, because I know the way they're going to spin it. Oh, look at these guys. They don't like who gets elected. The people spoke and blah, blah, blah. Now they're going to get rid of it. Well, we opposed the debt override. I hate to say it, but we told them so.
That's right.
And here it comes. We got outvoted. We kept our mouths shut until it got, now they got it, and now they're complaining. Some of the people who were the biggest advocates are now complaining.
Right.
We complained about the charter. Some of the people now that were the biggest advocates of the charter are now saying, well, so the thing is that we did our homework, we took an opposing position, and I hate to, no, I don't hate to say I told you so, but we told you so. And this is another situation. I don't like recalls. When we ran that recall, we went on record as saying, we don't want to do this, and it should only be done in extreme circumstances.
That's right.
And that was an extreme circumstance. Will Flanagan had run this city again into the financial hole. There was an $8 million deficit. We had bags. We had the fee that he said he was going to repeal, the stormwater fee. We had a litany of things. The reality is that if Paul Coogan, and I said that's an if. Look at, I'll be the first guy. I will not support a recall if he doesn't implement anything.
Right.
I mean, if he goes there and figures out a way to actually run this city without killing the taxpayers again, then you've got no grounds to recall him.
That's right.
But if he does, remember, your debt override is going to be double what they projected. How are people on fixed incomes, how are retirees going to absorb that? And at maximum 2.5 increase and fee increases. And how about the people, I mean, the real people who live in Fall River, not the bankers, not the lawyers, not your rich friends, not the people who live up in Newton North, better known as the Highlands. How about the people who are living on what the United States Census Bureau says is Fall River's income? Under 35,000. I'm gonna have to look it up. I haven't looked it up in a year or so, but it was under 35,000 when the state average is in the 60s. So it's less than around half. That's the household income. The per capita income was around 25.
Right.
So how is somebody making $25,000 a year, living in an apartment, going to afford the rent increases that the landlords are going to pass over to their tenants? How are the landlords, how are the people who own single-family homes that are on relatively small incomes, who saved all their life to get a house, going to absorb double the amount of the projected override and an increase to the max of 2.5? It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
And an additional $100 on top of the debt exclusion.
Yeah.
Because that's what they talked about, putting an additional $100 on top of the debt exclusion. So this is going to be an interesting city council meeting. I implore you, please, watch the meeting, put your citizens' input in, let them know what your financial situation is, and let them know what the financial situation of Fall River is, and demand that the mayor tell you what's going on in the city of Fall River.
Believe me, there will be a recall if they add $100, double the fees, and even make a whiff of unfortunately, there will be, because you know what's going to happen again? The people who didn't show up are going to complain. The people who did show up are going to complain because they believed the lies.
That's right.
And didn't listen. Listen, look at they explained what a structural deficit is. They have said And Mary Sahadi admitted it. You don't want to believe it, but she said, we have a structural deficit. And she said we were going to go to all these options, or we could go to, or we may go to all of them, or some of them. So, I mean, how many times do they have to hit you in the head with a hammer before you stop listening to the Kool-Aid that's being poured on the 6th floor?
What you do at every city council meeting. Pound, pound, pound,
Yeah.
pound.
Yeah, before I started watching council meetings, I had hair. That's how bad it is. My first option was pulling it out, and I got really good at it. So, but
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but this is the I told you so show today. I told you so. We told you on this show last week that the students were damaging the new high school. $263 million high school being torn apart by the students. Over the weekend, the principal of the high school released a notice to the parents that the grades report had been sent out in the mail, and that to review the attendance record and the grades of their children. And then he went on to say, and there have been reports of damage to the school's bathrooms by pranksters and people who are following the TikTok thing.
Well, I object to that wording. Again, we have the wokey school departments that called anybody who wants their children educated properly domestic terrorists. They are vandals.
They are vandals. They are. No question about it. And they've got one. They've got one that they're charging and they're prosecuting. One person did not do it alone. There was a whole bunch of others. This school has cameras in every hallway, outside of every classroom. And you mean to tell me you could not look at those cameras and find out who did it? No, because you're not paying attention. You're not taking care of our building. You as teachers, you as the vice principal, you as the principal are required to maintain our school. You are required to make sure that it is safe for our children. And obviously, you can't do that. So Mimi Larrabee can defend you all she wants to keep you in your job, but guess what? Doesn't work if you're not doing your job. And you're not doing your job. This is ridiculous, and I believe, and I saw on Facebook, a lot of people had started posting the letter that came out from the school principal, and people were saying, I told you so, and they were saying that all these children should be prosecuted. And they even said that after they're prosecuted, they should be put into a secure youth facility. They want them locked up.
They're vandals.
And maybe they'll learn.
They're vandals.
The problem is we have these judges in the juvenile system that go, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, we're going to coddle you. Don't worry. We're going to walk you down the aisle. We're going to make sure you're all set. So we're going to give you probation for 6 months. And if you stay clean, you'll be all set.
Well,
but who's going to pay for it? Because the parents don't have the money.
Mimi Laravee's going to pay for it.
Maybe Mimi Larrabee
She's the great
will pay
defender. She defended Malone. Now she's defending vandals.
Right, exactly. You know, this is the way it works. So remember that, because this school is what you paid for. You voted for it. A majority of you people out there voted for this school. You voted for this debt exclusion. We told you not to, because at that time we could afford, before Paul Coogan, pre-Paul Coogan, we could afford to pay for that school out of our revenue stream. Now, after Paul Coogan, we can't. That's BC
PC.
and AC.
Yeah, BC and AC, yeah.
Oh, well, we're at the end of our show. I want to thank you all for watching. Please do your research, and remember, it's important that you know what's going on in your city. Give your citizens input. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay careful over the week. It's going to be raining like crazy. Have a good day, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching.
Vote often.